Just going to give it a minute here. We have all the time in the world. If you are just tuning in, and you are because we just started, in the description, we are, you can click a link and enter to win a COBALT8 in a variety of your choosing. Any flavor you like, the desktop, the 37, the 61 key. The link is in the description in this video. So we are giving away a COBALT8. Do please give us a subscribe and follow us. We'll be putting out some content continually, so follow us on your social media of choice. And to be fair, too, subscribing on YouTube is a requirement to enter to win a COBALT8. All right, so, well, we're about a minute in, so we can talk about what is the COBALT8. So the COBALT8 is an 8-voice polyphonic extended virtual analog synthesizer. And we'll get into what extended means and just to chat about it. We have 34 different algorithms in each oscillator group. So let's kind of go over the layout of the synth. So we have 2 oscillator groups. Each oscillator has 8 oscillators per voice. And we have 3 envelopes. Of course, your filter envelope, your amp envelope, and a modulation envelope. We have 3 LFOs, an effect engine with 3 different effects simultaneously, a very powerful sequencer, what Modal has called the Animator, which is like a parameter sequencer, as well as an Arpeggiator. So it's a really in a programmable arpeggiator too, to be clear. So it's a very powerful synthesizer. One of the incredible things about it is the Modal App, which is this right here, this free plugin that will work inside of your DAW, either as an audio unit or VST plugin, and it'll run on any tablet mobile device or like your iPad on iOS or Windows tablets. And you have control over the parameters on the synth. You can see if I adjust a parameter on the synth in real time, it updates on the app, and vice versa. So it's a really easy way to get an overview of what is happening on the synth, as well as saving patches, naming them, and through here you can import and export patches. So just a little note there, we will be giving away any sounds we come up with on the stream. All the sounds so far that are original, we will be hosting these on our website. Just follow the description. We'll update that after the stream is done. So, yeah, we will get into in-depth on the algorithms, and we're just going to explore some sounds. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to fire away. So until then, we'll still give it a couple more minutes because it's early, but wanted to definitely plug the giveaway, talk about what it is, what the Cobalt is, and we'll just explore some sounds here. The oscillators are digital. This is a digital synthesizer. So this is one of the patches that will be given away for free, and we can kind of talk about what's making this patch go here. As you can hear, there's some harmonic stepping that is happening, and we're using one of the algorithms called a spread saw to give us these harmonics. And what I've done is on the LFO, I have an LFO assigned to one of the parameters. So here, LFO2 to oscillator 1B. And you can hear that it's stepping through those harmonics. And you can find a sweet spot on what sounds good to your ear based on, the kind of sound you're going for. We did not talk about the filter. I am so very sorry. So, yeah, it is a 4-pole ladder-style filter. Dare I say, Moogish, but 4-pole ladder filter with a couple different modes. There's your traditional low pass and what's called a balanced low pass, where as I crank up the resonance, we'll just go to an init sound here. Do something a little rich. Let's get a little bit of a super saw going here. So as I crank up the resonance, we keep a lot more of the signal in the balanced mode. So it's still a a 4-pole filter, but there's a few different modes. So the balanced low pass keeps more of the signal there. You know, generally on a 4-pole filter, as you crank up the resonance, your whole signal is lowered below the resonance point, and this is a way to kind of combat that. So we also have a balanced high pass, so same thing, but just high pass, and then a phase shift, which is it's from the 008, really has the same filter, their analog flagship. And it is almost like a phaser type sound. And this is a morphable filter too. I forgot to mention. So if I go back to like balanced low pass, I'm just a fan of keeping the gain, you know, relatively the same as I crank up the resonance. So I will generally, my own personal taste is to stick with like the balanced low pass. But we can morph. Oh, turn off our sequencer. We can morph from a low pass into a band pass and then into a 1-pole filter, which is actually a very useful filter type on things like pads. Very, very gentle slope. Can the filter peak and produce a sine wave? Yes, it can. For that, I will go to just the resonant low pass. And then I'll turn on key tracking too. So as we get into, we have the modulation matrix as well. So 8 freely assignable modulation spots with 4 hardwired modulation spots. One of them is cut off to note. So to address the question on playing the filter, I want to turn the key tracking, which is note to cut off. I'll turn that all the way up. I know, let's go to a one of the algorithms. We'll do a filtered noise. And I'll just filter it all the way out. That way we basically only get the sound of the filter. So cool. So there we go. There's a sine wave from the filter here. So in a sense, if you use the filter as an oscillator, you can kind of get three oscillators. Can we modulate the filter at audio rate? Yes, we can. And we can do that with Lfos. So we have 3 Lfos on the Cobalt. One of them is a global, and 2 of them are polyphonic. So LFO1 is the global LFO, and LFOs 2 and 3 are polyphonic. I'm 99% sure I have that right, and if I'm wrong, someone could set me right in the comments. I'd appreciate it, but I'm pretty positive that's what it is. Let's go just quick init. Go to a saw, just sure, fractal saw, and let's do some filter modulation. So in my mod matrix, I'm going to take LFO. Let's take LFO2. So we want the polyphonic LFO, and I want to go to cutoff. I will switch to the balanced low pass. Personal preference. Modulation. Let's go to a, dare I say, just a basic sawtooth, so we can hear. All right, so cut off to LFO2. So, yes, that we absolutely can. And now am I imagining? I thought that there was like a root note division on the LFO time, so I might be mistaken. So, but yes, we can do audio rate modulation on the cutoff frequency. All right. Let's see, digital filter. I'm going to do my best to keep up with any questions that you have. So let's go through just through some of these sounds. We'll jump back here to this. I call this one Harmonic Stepper. And so there's two LFOs in action here. We have a faster LFO that's cycling through what's called the spread on the oscillator, which is those harmonics. Then I have a second LFO moving at half the speed that's lifting the filter, modulating the filter. Yes, the filters are per voice. Everything you see on the app can be done on hardware. That is absolutely correct. Thank you, James. Did I mention the giveaway? I don't think I mentioned the giveaway, that we're giving away a COBALT8. Follow the link in the description on this video and enter to win a COBALT8 of your choice, desktop 3761. So let's see what's going on here. Let's take a look at this patch. So we've got we're using 6 out of 8 of the modulation spots here, making use of a nice little feature using the mod envelope to control the LFO rate, which is really nice. You can just make sounds have a little bit more life and more movement when you start modulating LFO times. You can even point LFO, have the LFO1 control like the speed of LFO2 per se. No, Matt, excellent question. You didn't miss anything. So assigning modulation, we can do that on the synth, or we can do it through the app. So if we were to do that on the synth, and let's take a little segue here. Let's do this. Let's find a fun algorithm. Let's say like the spread. So let's say I wanted to modulate this via the sequencer. So what I'll do is I just initialize the sequence. I can do that by just holding down mute, clearing the sequence. And what I want to do is we'll go to the modulation mod slots. It's on. We'll select our source. So we'll say we want our source to be. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's the mod matrix. We're going to do we're going to sequence. So I want to record, and I want to go to let's do like a step record. And what I can do is, as I hit record, let's clear this out. I can hit a note, and I can also put in a value on one of the oscillator settings. So I just did 8 steps. So I did a step record there, and as I put in notes in the sequencer, I also put in some parameter changes. So let's just hear what that sounds like. That was pretty random. I didn't put a whole bunch of thought into it, but let's play. Nope. Oh, I just assigned tuning now to one of the lanes. Here, stop. Let's turn our pitch up. So that's one way that you can put modulation tracks into the sequencer. You also have the Animator too, which is kind of like somewhere between an envelope and a highly programmable LFO. It is easier to visualize if I switch over to the app and show you. And I'll show you like one of my favorite utility style animation sequences. So, and that's called Oscillator Slop. And I've got a patch that really demonstrates that nicely. So I've got this relatively simple patch. And we'll zoom out here so you can see the synth, so we can watch what happens when I hit play. So relatively simple sound. Now what I have is an animation that's controlling the fine tune of Oscillator 1. And you can see that here. I've just kind of randomly gone through and drawn some random values. That way when I hit play on the sequencer, it's going to just slowly manipulate the pitch of Oscillator 1. See here, just little random drifting in pitch, which is actually pretty cool. So let's do something here. Who needs Ableton Live? The funny thing about Ableton Live, so your DAW. So you have the Modal App that is a VST or audio unit plugin, and inside of your DAW. And I'm sorry that we're not set up to show you this. I'm not running this inside of Ableton, for example, but you could modulate any one of these or automate rather. You could automate any one of these parameters inside of Ableton. So you could literally draw in much more complex things inside of your DAW, and in real time, it's going to happen on the synth. So just the whole level of it's just a whole new level of like sound design and creativity. You can just do some totally wild tricks and things that just aren't possible to do. We will do a video. Our next video with this, I promise, will be workflow inside of a DAW like Ableton, and we'll do like kind of a, building a track, start to finish, or just recording and tracking layers and what you can do with the app. But here's just a very simple sound, really brought to life with an animation of the pitch of Oscillator 1. So now if I turn that off. Let's see. Can you pan with the ping pong delay? Oh, you can pan. Okay. Yeah, modulating the delay with an LFO is a really cool trick to fatten up some sounds. As a matter of fact, I had done that with this patch. So again, this patch will be free. I'll switch over to the app so we can see what's happening. This is a pretty complex sound that really is only using, or actually a nice sound that is only using one modulation slot. And I'm using LFO1 to effects 3B. So effects 3 is the delay and B is the time. So I've got this. Let me exaggerate it so you can really hear what's happening. So a very slow LFO is modulating the time of the delay, and it just gives you this nice chorus kind of sound, and then you can use it in conjunction with chorus. Actually, which I thought I did have, but no, no chorus, and here it sounds like there's chorus. Cool. We'll go through some sounds. So you can see the two algorithms here, folded triangle and a spread saw, which can give you that super saw style sound. Let's talk about the envelopes for a little bit here, because this is a nice pad sound, so a good opportunity to talk about the envelopes, your typical ADSR envelopes, but they do have different options available. So exponential, snappy, soft, linear, and then exponential long versions of the same envelopes, and these are available for all three of the envelopes. So nice. If you're doing bass sounds, you're probably going to want to use the snappy algorithm. If you're doing pads, you might want to experiment with some of the other ones, either the long or the soft. They just have different feels to them. That's actually a really nice sound. Let's take a second. We'll talk about, the COBALT is a virtual analog synthesizer with many tricks up its sleeves. Let's say, the COBALT, versus the Argon, right? Which one is better for you, and why should you get both? Wavetable and virtual analog, two very different things. So if you like, the sound of wavetable, you can get into more of like that FM-ish kind of territory. You can get a little bit more, crazy in a particular sense with wavetable. However, that being said, with the algorithms on the COBALT, you can go places in the realm of virtual analog that you can't go on any other virtual analog style synthesizer. So, but do check him out. Let's keep going through some sounds. MPE. Yes, there is MPE. So, yes, MPE support. I'm not set up to show you MPE support. However, we can show you on the app where you do go for that. So, let's see. Page 2, MPE. And you have control over the pitch amount here, too. So, but yeah, MPE ready. All right. Sorry about that. So here's the square sync, hard sync algorithm. And we still have that little sequence that we keyed in. So, talking about the arpeggiator, it has an arpeggiator. However, it's pretty advanced because we can key in our own arp pattern. So let's see, turn it off and on. Let me switch over to the app just so you can get a better visual. So over here I'm in the keyboard section over arp pattern. And what I can do is simply play a few keys. Turn off arp pattern. Oh, and then I also have chord set on, which kind of got a little ahead of myself. So now that little random sequence we just typed in is now an arpeggio. And so we can get into different octaves, different divisions, different directions, of course. Let's go random. And now we can do another little trick right here in the same section is a chord set. So we can hit chord set and put in a chord. I'll just put it in an interval like a fifth. So I set that. And now we have a harmonized arpeggiator. Now, to be clear, what we're doing right here is not stored with the preset. So if you like what you come up with, track it, record it as MIDI into your DAW, and then you have your own MIDI sequence that you can play back and save and use at a different time. And you can come up with something that in 10 seconds, that to have typed this in or sequence this would have taken several minutes, even inside of a DAW. I switch over to one of the other algorithms on Oscillator 1. So our group 1 rather. So this is just one oscillator group that we're hearing right now. crazy there. So cool. That's a preset called Arpew. Hey, did we say we were giving away a Cobalt? I forget. If I didn't, we're giving away a Cobalt. And make sure you follow the link in our description of this video that you're watching right now. Let's say for a minute here, like, okay, why would you want a hardware synth? And let's think of it. So, one, you have an immediate control and access to all of these sound parameters to really quickly edit relative to a soft synth plugin. But also, a really important thing about having a hardware synth is, like right now, I have a synth that is doing 16 oscillators per voice, 2 groups of oscillators at 8 each, with 0 perceivable latency. So I hit the key and it's instant. So do a 16 unison patch on a soft synth, and even the most robust of computers is going to choke a little bit. So you have this powerful tool that can take all the, let your computer do some of the more, mixing based things, and let the synth itself handle the CPU intensive stuff. Because I'm just imagining what my CPU would look like if I were doing this synth, this patch in a soft synth. I call that one Liftoff, this patch. That is a nice sound. All right, what else? I was like, oh, that would be cool if I modulated the filter via the X, Y controller. And guess what? I already did that. How is the bass on the Cobalt? All right, I'm not responsible for any blown woofers, Mr. Anthony Grawl, if that's your real name. Let's make a bass patch. Sure, why not? So let's go. We can show off some plucky envelope, the fast envelopes here. So cool. Okay, let's find an algorithm we like. Let's start with just let's do it like a sync style square. our filter. Turn up the depth. Let's go to the app. We'll just, as opposed to menu dive, let's go to on the filter envelope, we're going to go to a snappy. Now let's go to mix. Let's find on Oscillator 2, let's find a... And now we've got the basic concept, or you know, the shape of the sound now. We can just change some the algorithms now, and see if we find something that. I'm a big fan of using sync mixed in on bass sounds, so you get a little bit like some extra harmonic content, but it doesn't get too. It's not too like detuned, like super saw bass. You know, well, subjective, but it doesn't sound the best. You want something more just tight. So sync sounds with bass are really terrific, and this is awesome because you could do that within one oscillator group, and then you still have a whole second oscillator group to play with. Like this already sounds like two oscillators. So let's go to... All right, let's, yeah. And I'm not, what would sound really great is putting it like a little overdrive or distortion or some saturation, those things. So I'm not doing any of that, but that would, you know, when we're talking about bass sounds, that'd be really nice. Cool. Let's see. Let's go through, put on some effects here. Dial up a chorus. Let's put a reverb on here. Let's see. Why not? Why not? All right. So also, do make sure if you have, well, any modal product, make sure that you follow them and check out the Modal Electronics website. They release free patches, software updates. So, but most importantly, if you're open and looking for new patches, great to tune into the Modal Electronics website and make sure to follow them as well. The filters are remarkably smooth on this synth. let's see here. What do we got? Cool patch using velocity to modulate parameters. So the harder or softer you hit the key, we've got a few different parameters. Velocity to oscillator 2A, which is one of the algorithm parameters. So like a sync amount, velocity to cutoff, and velocity to the folding of the triangles on algorithm A. I realize I called oscillator 2 oscillator 1 by mistake. Yes, you can polychain these. So you could have, I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you could polychain up to 4 for 32 voice, at least 2 for 16 voice. But I do believe you can polychain, well, 3 of them, right? You have the master and then the 3 that are chained to it. So then you've got, so yeah. Let's key in a new ARP sequence here. So go ARP pattern. I'm going to do. Cool. And you get into happy accident territory really quick. All right, let's see what else. Let's put. Cool. All right, moving on. Some more sounds. All right. Thank you, Mike. So you can polychain 4 sculpts or 2 cobalts for 16 voices. Excellent. Cool. All right, let's see. What else do we got? What else do we got? Kind of break this patch down here real quick. This is there's a lot going on with this sound. So So we have things like the mod envelope controlling the pitch of oscillator group 2. If I turn my mix over. So it sounds like a portamento, but it's not because it's from the mod envelope. So a snappy mod envelope. And then, so if I go over to oscillator 1, I don't have any pitch going on to that one. Let's see. Again, this just take a simple sound, add that slop utility plugin. I highly recommend that you make a series of these. Like do one for Oscillator 1, do one for Oscillator 2, and do one with both of them, and you can have this kind of like push-pull effect. Cool, let's explore, maybe let's go through just some of the algorithms. So a knit patch, let's go. So your first oscillator, virtual analog sweep. I can go from sine the triangle to sawtooth to pulse with pulse width. All on one. And I could animate that and get some, and sequence that and get some very cool movements. Let's see, VA crush, so like a bit reduction. And yeah, thank you, Randy. It is. It's very immediate. Like within minutes, you're creating sounds that I wouldn't have guessed would have necessarily been possible to come out of a virtual, a quote virtual analog, synthesizer. All right, spread saw. This is nice. Everyone's like, can it super saw? And yes, it can. Let's turn off our slop oscillator. Go to the overhead shot here. I like how on the display you can see the waveform moving to reflect what's actually happening. I can turn the spread down. That's just one oscillator group. So let's go the other spread saw. And then we'll detune that one. So turn the fine tune up. Resonance up. If I hold the patch button and turn the filter knob, I can change the filter type. Going back to the balanced low pass. Just want to show how smooth that filter is. Let's put some attack on this, some attack and release, to get more of a pad sound out of it. Yeah, the Modal App is great, and it is free. Free 99. And of course, it will only work if you have a Cobalt. If the Cobalt's not connected, it's not going to do anything. Is there any overdrive compensation for when the resonance is turned up? Yes, that is one of the filter types. So that I'm personally a fan of, and they call that the balanced low pass. So if you know, like, an Oberheim style filter, it's like famous in a sense for you crank up the resonance and it doesn't reduce the signal below the resonance point. The resonance gets added to the signal. I'm not sure if it's the same degree as something like that, but it is more down that, closer to that than your traditional ladder filter, where when you do turn up the resonance, it lowers your signal below the resonance point. That can be a very useful tool for sound design, but overall, in my opinion, maybe for like some more modern, electronic music, not as desirable. So you are right. Using the balanced low-pass mode, let me get over to the overhead shot. Using the balanced low-pass filter type, I can preserve more of that signal, keep more of that signal as I crank up the resonance. So I am a big fan of that. You're welcome. I just thought of a random, here, I'll share a random sound design trick that I like, to add movement to, to regular, patches, if you will. So what I'll do, I just went to an init sound. Let's just pull up a sawtooth because it's, full spectrum. We can hear it. So I like to take an LFO, and we'll do a polyphonic LFO. So LFO 2, and let's go to the pitch of Oscillator 1. So Oscillator 1 pitch, and what I'll do is I'll change the shape to a sample and hold, and I'll turn the rate down to very slow. So here's 4 bars. So we're not going to hear it move to the next step unless we hold the note down for 4 bars. And what I'll do is we'll turn it to, re-trigger, and we'll turn it up just a little bit. And every time we hit a note, we'll make it more dramatic. So every time we hit a note, it will be kind of a random. Oh, I'm on the wrong LFO. Re-trigger, sample and hold, slow rate. Every time we trigger a note, it'll be a ever so slightly random amount, and that's if we adjust it down. So somewhere between 1 and 2. I can just bring the whole. There's a VC on the LFO, which is actually really, really cool. The LFO has a global VCA for that LFO. So if you have a bunch of parameters assigned to LFO 2, you can control it globally with this. And here's just a regular, one sawtooth patch, but as I play chords, play notes, the pitch varies ever so random. And actually that segues into, there is an oscillator drift setting too, so I can turn that up. There's also a width setting too. So each note will be spread out across the stereo field. Now that combined with the like a stack mode where I can kind of do a polyphonic unison. So here we have just an unbelievably fat sound. We're just using one oscillator group, one LFO on the pitch, and we haven't even touched a second oscillator. Is the Modal App macOS Big Sur and M1 CPU? That is a great question. I would imagine so. There might be somebody here that could put me right in the comments and confirm. I would be surprised if it wasn't. I guess I could frame it that way. macOS 10.10 or above. This is, actually, we're going to save this on. This is actually a really nice patch. Go to my balanced low pass. So need a little resonance or nah? Let's do, you know, let's do this. Let's do an aftertouch. Let's go, because we've only got one mod slot here or that we're using, one modulation assignment. I want to go aftertouch, and I want to have that morph the filter. So yeah, morph. So as I apply aftertouch, it morphs into a bandpass filter. And let's do another one. Let's do aftertouch again. And let's go resonance. Cool. We need a little bit of an envelope on that filter to give it some movement. Yeah, the filter sweeps do sound really good. For speed's sake, I'm going to save this inside of the app, but this is really cool. So made this cool sound. I can simply hit save in the app, come over here, double tap on the patch name. So I was on initial patch 320. And we'll call this Superist Saw. And actually, that's false because we're not even using, we're only using one oscillator group. We haven't even touched the second one. So let's see, what could we do anything with? Let's put a square wave in there. Oh, we'll call it Superist Saw. So let's go oscillator group 2. Let's turn the tuning up an octave. Let's spread that. Cool. And now let's do another modulation. Let's modulate with another LFO, and we'll go LFO 3, so it's polyphonic. And we'll do the pitch of oscillator 2. We'll get it dramatic. Just I want to dial in the speed of the modulation first. So LFO 3. Now let's do this too. I want to go, can I go my note to LFO 3 rate? Yes, we can. So. Cool. So as I play the lower notes, I want the modulation to go slower. So let's find try to find a little bit of a sweet spot. So. We're gonna. Man. So that's dramatic. We're gonna back it off a bit. So LFO, we put this down probably to about 2. A little more. There you go. Yeah. Cool. Now let's mix. Now we're only hearing oscillator group 2. So. Let's go. Let's change. I want a longer attack time. So let's go. Not snappy. Let's go. Let's try soft long. Well, that's got like a that does have a curve to it. Exponential. Oh, that's the amp envelope. Let's go linear long. Soft long. Expo long. Yeah, I think expo long is going to be it. Let's bring the sustain drop just ever so slightly, very slowly. How quick does it respond to changing programs? Oh, okay. I understand your question. Now this is worthy of the name Supersolve. Let's save this, and then we'll get on to Chris's question here. So double hit save, boom, done. All right, that's a sound I could play for like an hour. So, okay, cool. Well, okay, we're going along. We want to save, so we'll open a patch. I mean, it's instant. So, Chris, I think that is your question. Ask again or let me know if that isn't right. But I could also interpret that as like program change. So yes, it'll respond to program change. But I think you meant actually changing the patches. Cool. I'm blown away. It's already been an hour. Anyone have any questions? I'll give it a second here. I'll do something totally random. Is the sync in similar to Korg sync in? I'm not sure how to answer that. I'm pretty sure you're referring to the CV input. I want to say yes, that it could probably talk to each other. So, but if we don't get an answer, I'll personally follow up with you. How many slots on the mod matrix? There are 8 freely assignable slots, and there's 4 hardwired spots. Rising gate just steps the sequencer one step. Yes, that is an option in the sequencer. There is a gate mode. I was actually playing with that early on. Oh, I didn't even save that patch. Oh well. But yes. There we go. The sync input is designed to play with Korg and Teenage Engineering sync standards. Thank you, Mike. But yeah, there is a gate option on the sequencer. So, for example, I just pulled up a knit patch, and I want to do. We'll do like a. I want to do a step record, and I want to hit record. I'll go to my overhead shot here, and let's just go like. Cool. I'm just going to put in a very simple 4-step sequence. And now when I go to my mode, I can do so here, each new key press is stepping through, and I can do this. This question actually started by doing it over CV. You can do that, yes, that I do know. So if you wanted to trigger that over CV and progress the sequence you recorded, you absolutely could do that. You could also do it on the keyboard. So, and there's also different ways that I could do it too. So if I go back to my sequence, I'm trying to do this on the unit. So I've got like a gate through, meaning when I push a key, not only will it trigger and then advance to the next step when I take my key off, but it'll also play the sound at the same time. So you could, like I'm doing a bass line over that little melody riff. But we could also make it just simply gate. We could also do gate transpose. Now, even cooler, we can take this a step farther. We can also apply the arpeggiator to this too. So let's go to the arpeggio. This will be easier to visualize on the app. So I'll switch over to that. And where are we? Keyboard. Let's just turn my division down. I'm trying to recreate what I was doing earlier, right when we went live. I had this nice little... Oh, I need a new art pattern. Let's just do... Oop. So now I've got a little sequence recorded, and I also keyed in the same notes in the arpeggio. And so I've got an arpeggio with a sequencer running. And it will transpose as I play a different key. Here's a great example. In a matter of moments, we got a unique pattern that could just be the launch pad for a new track or a new idea. So let's get this. Let's sweep through some of the algorithms here while we've got a little sequence playing. this algorithm where you get like these dual sync style sounds out of one oscillator group. It's just killer. And when you start to mix two and then put the mod envelope on one, you can just get these wildly complex sounds. Okay, Chris, want to hear something freaky? Yeah, well, there's definitely some, algorithms that are lend itself more for just, almost Foley sound design as opposed to just, your traditional chromatic scaled kind of things. So that sequence, or like that arpeggio pattern, that's not saved. We just keyed that in, and that is pretty much momentary. If we turned it off and turned it back on, that ARP sequence is gone. So if you like something, like if I had my DAW up, I would totally track this as a sequence and capture that MIDI and then have it. Cool. All right, let's yeah, I could play that patch till the battery dies on my camera. So, but yeah, okay. So we still didn't get through really all the algorithms. Let's find one. Think of one that is a little freaky as per request. So now we're in like the realm of just unquantized, just pure chaos. Oh, let's try. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt, I missed the question. Besides the keyboard, are there differences in features between the COBALT8? Exactly the same sound engine, completely compatible. Bill is correct. There is a slight difference on the front panel. I don't have a Cobalt desktop here to tell you what it is, but there is a slight difference. But overall, they are totally identical sonically. So you don't lose anything with the module that sound-wise you can do on any of the other versions. Cool. Let's do something here. This is a cool little patch. Let's do something a little bit different. Let's point a couple LFOs at this. I don't know. I'm feeling like let's do 2 square wave LFOs. Let's sync these. Let's do 1 in half, and let's do 1 in 1 bar. So let's say LFO 1. Let's go to Oscillator 1A. Let's do a ramp up on this one. So ramp up, let's point it at, let's see, LFO 2. All right, let's take LFO 3 and let's do, try to do some sort of like triplet thing. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. What do we do? LFO 3. to cut off. Let's. Cool. So, yeah, here. I mean, that's different. This would be a sound that you'd expect more from like a wavetable synth than like a virtual analog. Like. Cool. Now we have the basic modulation parameters there. So let's change the algorithm and see what happens. Cool. All right. Well, yeah. Two LFOs. Well, actually, three LFOs, but an LFO routing to the oscillator, and then one to the filter. We get some cool stuff happening. Yes, we can do MIDI tempo sync, and that's actually exactly what's happening here. They're sunk to the internal clock, and that's why we have those three different LFO rates are all in sync together. And you can sync them or not. Yes, you can sync them to external clock or internal clock, or the clock can come from CV as well. Awesome. We're gonna save this patch. Let's save this to here 318. And I just lost it. Hey, you're gonna lose patches every once in a while. Cool. Hey, I think it's been a couple minutes since we plugged the giveaway. Sign up, follow the link in the description on this video. We are giving away a COBALT8. You get to choose which style you want, what flavor, the desktop, the 37, the 61. Follow the link, fill it out. You do need to follow us on YouTube to be eligible. That is one of the requirements when you read the rules. So give us a follow, or a subscribe, rather. Use the correct terms. So subscribe to our channel. You're already here, so click subscribe if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. We have a good idea for what we want to do next. We're going to do Argon Cobalt with inside of like a DAW, and we'll do some workflow kind of stuff. I'm happy to field any questions anybody has. Happy to keep going through some sounds. And just a fair warning, the camera battery is going to start getting low here, so we might just ride this out till the battery dies, and that'll be the end. But we'll still have a shot of the app if that were to happen, so it's not like won't just be a hard goodbye there. Cool. So let's go to. I want to reset my art pattern. let's do some. We'll play some sound as we get out of here, and you guys can go about your Sunday. Yeah, please sign up for the giveaway. Somebody really is going to win one of these, and it might as well be you. You can't win if you don't play. Appreciate everyone that tuned in and watched. It really do appreciate it. Thank you. this will be the last patch. And again, don't forget to sign up for the giveaway. I don't know if we mentioned that yet. I hope we mentioned the giveaway.